Tyler Roberts jolts awake, his eyes widening as he realizes the thing between his legs is causing quite a stir. He's strapped to a cold metallic examination table, surrounded by sleek, unfamiliar technology that hums and blinks with an otherworldly energy. Panic sets in as he struggles against his restraints, his heart racing as he takes in the alien environment. Tall, slender figures with iridescent skin and large almond-shaped eyes move around him, their movements precise and clinical. These are the Wadi, an alien species Tyler has never encountered before. They prod and probe his body, recording data on translucent screens that float in the air. The examination room door slides open with a soft hiss. A young female Wadi enters, her skin shimmering with a soft purple glow. This is Rosa, tasked with documenting Tyler's anatomy for the official Wadi records of their first human specimen. She approaches the table, data pad in hand, her large eyes focused intently on Tyler's form. As Rosa's gaze travels down Tyler's body, she freezes. Her eyes widen, a mix of shock and fascination evident in her expression. Tyler follows her line of sight, realizing with a jolt of embarrassment that his genitalia is the source of her surprise. The Wadi anatomy, it seems, is drastically different from human biology. In her state of shock, Rosa takes a step back, stumbling slightly. At that exact moment, the ship's gravity systems malfunction. The sudden shift sends Rosa tumbling forward, her hand accidentally hitting the release mechanism for Tyler's restraints. Seizing his chance, Tyler leaps from the table. Adrenaline courses through his veins as he pushes past the stunned Wadi researchers. Alarms blare, bathing the room in pulsating red light. In the chaos, Tyler's elbow connects with a control panel. Emergency sirens wail as a hidden door slides open, revealing an escape pod. Without thinking, Tyler dives into the pod. Rosa, caught in the momentum of the moment, tumbles in after him. Before either can react, the pod's door seals shut, and they're launched into space with a violent jerk. Tyler and Rosa are thrown against each other as the pod hurtles through the void. Through a small viewport, they watch the Wadi ship grow smaller, replaced by the looming presence of an unknown planet. The pod shudders as it enters the atmosphere, systems failing one by one. "Brace for impact!" Tyler shouts, instinctively wrapping an arm around Rosa as they plummet towards the alien world below. The crash landing is rough. Metal screeches against rock as the pod skids to a halt in a barren, desert-like landscape. Dazed but alive, Tyler and Rosa stumble out of the wreckage. 3 suns beat down mercilessly, their heat immediately oppressive. As the reality of their situation sinks in, Tyler and Rosa eye each other warily. Tyler, driven by a mix of fear and survival instinct, sees Rosa as both a potential threat and a possible bargaining chip for his return to Earth. Rosa, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear, can't help but view Tyler as a fascinating specimen, a key to unlocking the mysteries of human biology. In the distance, a structure shimmers on the horizon, offering a glimmer of hope, or perhaps another danger. Tyler and Rosa face a crucial decision: seek help from unknown entities or attempt to repair their battered escape pod. As they contemplate their options, the air between them crackles with tension, their physical differences and cultural misunderstandings creating an invisible barrier. Stranded on this hostile world, Tyler and Rosa must learn to work together despite their differences. Their survival depends on it, and as they navigate this harsh, new reality, they can't ignore the growing awareness of each other's alien physiology and the potential consequences of their unexpected intimacy. The alien landscape stretched before them, a canvas of ochre and rust under the relentless glare of 3 suns. Tyler squinted against the harsh light, his eyes fixed on the shimmering structure in the distance. Beside him, Rosa's iridescent skin pulsed with an uneasy glow. "We should head for that structure," Tyler said, his voice hoarse from the dry air. "It's our best chance of finding help, or at least shelter." Rosa nodded, her large eyes scanning the barren terrain. "Agreed, but we must be cautious. This world is unknown to both of us." They set out across the desert-like expanse, their feet sinking into the loose, grainy soil with each step. The heat was oppressive, beating down on them from above and radiating up from below. Tyler could feel his strength ebbing away with each passing minute, his throat parched and his head pounding. After what felt like hours of trudging through the alien wasteland, Tyler stumbled, nearly falling face first into the scorching sand. Rosa caught his arm, her cool touch a stark contrast to the blistering heat. "You're dehydrated," she observed, concern evident in her voice. Tyler nodded weakly, his eyes scanning the landscape. Suddenly, he spotted a cluster of odd, bulbous plants nearby. Their thick, waxy leaves gleamed dully in the sunlight. "Those plants," he croaked, pointing. "They might have water." Approaching the alien flora, Tyler examined the strange growths. They resembled earth cacti, but with a bluish tinge and peculiar protrusions. Drawing on half-remembered survival training, he carefully sliced into one of the bulbs with a shard of metal from the crashed escape pod. Clear liquid oozed from the cut. Tyler collected it in his cupped hands, offering it first to Rosa. "Here, drink." Rosa hesitated, then sipped the liquid cautiously. Her eyes widened in surprise. "It's refreshing. How did you know?" Tyler managed a weak smile. "Earth has similar plants in its deserts. I hope these might work the same way." They took turns drinking from the plant, the cool liquid revitalizing them. As they continued their journey, Rosa regarded Tyler with newfound respect. The structure loomed larger as they approached, its form becoming clearer. It was a weathered, domed building, constructed of a material that looked like tarnished copper. Alien symbols were etched into its surface, worn by time and the elements. "An abandoned outpost," Rosa mused, running her slender fingers over the strange markings. "But whose?" They circled the structure, finding an entrance partially hidden by drifting sand. Tyler pried open the door, revealing a dark interior. Stale air rushed out, carrying the scent of dust and long-forgotten machinery. Inside, consoles lined the walls, their screens dark and lifeless. Rosa moved to one, her fingers dancing over unfamiliar controls. To Tyler's amazement, the console hummed to life, bathing them in a soft blue glow. "How did you do that?" he asked, impressed. Rosa's skin shimmered with pride. "Many alien technologies share similar principles. This isn't so different from our Wadi systems." As Rosa worked, information began to scroll across the screen in an alien script. Her eyes widened as she deciphered the data. "We're on a planet called Xerxes 3, she announced. "It's a neutral zone between various alien factions, including my people, the Wadi." Tyler felt a mix of relief and apprehension. "So we might be rescued?" Rosa's expression darkened. "Perhaps, but Tyler, you must understand. If my people find us, they will want to take you for study. I'm not sure I can prevent that." The implications hung heavy in the air between them. Before Tyler could respond, a warning flashed across the screen, accompanied by a shrill alarm. "Sandburners," Rosa read, her voice tinged with fear. "Silicon-based life forms native to this planet. They generate intense heat and are drawn to organic matter." As if on cue, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Outside, the light of the setting suns was eclipsed by massive, glowing forms rising from the sand. They resembled monstrous hybrids of scorpions and centipedes, their bodies radiating waves of heat visible in the cooling air. "Inside!" Tyler shouted, pulling Rosa back into the outpost. He slammed the door shut just as one of the creatures lunged, its pincers scraping against the metal with a sound that set Tyler's teeth on edge. As night fell, the temperature plummeted. Tyler shivered violently, his body ill-equipped for the extreme cold. Rosa, noticing his distress, approached hesitantly. "My species has a higher body temperature," she explained. "I could help warm you." Tyler nodded gratefully, too cold to feel embarrassed. As Rosa pressed close, her warmth seeped into him, chasing away the chill. In the darkness, with the sounds of the sandburners scraping at the walls outside, Tyler became acutely aware of Rosa's alien physiology, the smooth texture of her skin, the subtle glow she emitted, the strange but not unpleasant scent that reminded him of ozone and something floral. Their moment of intimacy was shattered by a violent tremor. The sandburners were becoming more aggressive, their heat causing the metal of the outpost to groan and warp. "We need to find a way to drive them off," Tyler said, reluctantly pulling away from Rosa's warmth. Searching the outpost, they discovered a hidden weapons cache, Among the alien devices, Tyler found one that emitted a high-pitched whine when activated. To their relief, the sound seemed to repel the sandburners, driving them back into the desert. As the immediate danger passed, Tyler and Rosa took stock of their situation. The outpost's power reserves were dangerously low after using the sonic device. Their escape pod was too damaged to repair with the limited resources at hand. "We could salvage parts from the outpost systems," Rosa suggested, "but that would leave us without shelter." Before Tyler could respond, a faint signal caught their attention. It was coming from beyond a nearby mountain range, a distress call of unknown origin. "It could be our best chance for rescue," Tyler said, hope and wariness warring in his voice. Rosa nodded, her expression torn. "Yes, but my people will be searching for me. If they find us—" The unspoken threat hung between them. Tyler met Rosa's gaze, seeing the conflict in her alien eyes. They stood on the precipice of a decision that would shape not only their fate, but potentially the relationship between their species. As Xerxes III's twin moons rose in the alien sky, casting an eerie glow over the landscape, Tyler and Rosa began to gather supplies for their journey. The repelling device, precious water, and whatever food they could scavenge from the outpost were carefully packed. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly, promising danger and possibly salvation. The mountain range loomed in the distance, hiding the source of the mysterious signal. And somewhere out there, the Wadis searched, their intentions towards Tyler uncertain. With a final look at the relative safety of the outpost, Tyler and Rosa stepped out into the alien night, the first step of many on their perilous journey across Xerxes III. The first rays of Xerxes III's triple suns crept over the horizon, painting the alien desert in hues of amber and crimson. Tyler and Rosa emerged from the shelter of the outpost, their makeshift packs laden with supplies scavenged from the abandoned structure. "Ready?" Tyler asked, his voice a mix of commitment and apprehension. Rosa nodded, her iridescent skin pulsing with a soft glow in the early morning light. "As ready as we can be." They set out across the barren landscape, their eyes fixed on the distant mountain range that concealed the source of the mysterious distress signal. The terrain proved treacherous from the start, with shifting sands threatening to swallow their feet and jagged rock formations jutting out unexpectedly from the desert floor. As they navigated the hostile environment, Tyler found himself grateful for Rosa's knowledge of xenobiology. She identified potentially dangerous flora and fauna, steering them clear of hazards that Tyler's human senses might have missed. "Watch out for those crimson tendrils," Rosa warned, pointing to what looked like innocent red vines snaking across their path. "They're carnivorous and can deliver a nasty shock." Tyler skirted around the plant, impressed by Rosa's expertise. "Good catch. I guess we make a decent team after all." Hours into their journey, they encountered a massive gorge blocking their path. The chasm stretched as far as the eye could see in both directions, its depths lost in shadow. Tyler approached the edge, peering down at the sheer rock face. "We can't go around," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. "We'll have to climb down and back up the other side." Rosa's eyes widened. "Climb? I've never attempted anything like that before." Tyler began fashioning a makeshift harness from their limited supplies. "Don't worry, I've got some experience with rock climbing. I'll guide you through it." As Tyler helped Rosa into the harness, he became acutely aware of her alien physiology, the smooth texture of her skin, the subtle warmth she radiated, and the faint ozone-like scent that clung to her sent a shiver down his spine. "Okay," he said, clearing his throat. "Remember what I taught you? 3 points of contact at all times. Test each hold before you put your weight on it." They began their descent, Tyler leading the way and calling out instructions to Rosa. The physical proximity required for the climb intensified the growing attraction between them, even as it highlighted their physiological differences. Halfway down the cliff face, Rosa's foot slipped. She let out a cry of alarm, her body swinging precariously over the abyss. Tyler reacted instinctively, pressing himself against the rock and bracing Rosa's weight with his own body. "I've got you," he said, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. "Just breathe and find your footing." Rosa's skin pulsed with a rapid, frightened glow. Slowly, she regained her composure and found a secure foothold. As they continued their descent, Tyler couldn't help but notice the way Rosa's body trembled against his, a mix of fear and exhilaration. Finally, they reached the bottom of the gorge. The climb up the other side proved equally challenging, but they worked together seamlessly, their movements becoming more synchronized with each passing moment. As they hauled themselves over the edge of the cliff, exhausted and dehydrated, Tyler and Rosa collapsed onto the rocky ground. They lay there for several minutes, catching their breath and allowing their aching muscles to recover. "We did it," Rosa said, her voice filled with wonder and pride. Tyler nodded, a weary smile crossing his face. "Yeah, we did. You're a quick learner." As they pushed themselves to their feet, ready to continue their journey, Tyler's eyes widened in surprise. Before them stretched an oasis-like area, a lush microclimate amid the barren wasteland. Vibrant vegetation surrounded a small pool of clear water, the sight almost too good to be true after their arduous trek. "Is this real?" Tyler asked, rubbing his eyes in disbelief. Rosa approached the pool cautiously, her scientific curiosity piqued. "It appears to be. The geological formations must create a unique microclimate here, trapping moisture and allowing plant life to thrive." They hurried to the water's edge, eager to replenish their depleted supplies. As Tyler filled their containers, Rosa's attention was drawn to a cluster of strange bioluminescent plants growing near the pool's edge. Their petals seemed to pulse with an inner light, reacting to their presence. "Fascinating," Rosa murmured, reaching out to touch one of the delicate blooms. "Rosa, wait," Tyler began, but it was too late. As Rosa's fingers brushed against the plant, it released a cloud of glowing spores into the air. The particles swirled around them, settling on their skin and being inadvertently inhaled. Tyler felt an immediate change wash over him. His skin tingled with heightened sensitivity, and he became acutely aware of a musk-like scent emanating from his own body. Beside him, Rosa's natural bioluminescence intensified, her skin pulsing with waves of vibrant color. "Tyler!" Rosa gasped, her large eyes fixed on him with an intensity he'd never seen before. "I can feel your emotions. It's like they're radiating from you." Tyler took a step towards her, drawn by an irresistible pull. "Rosa, Before he could finish his thought, a low hum filled the air. They turned to see a sleek silver craft descending from the sky, kicking up swirls of sand as it landed at the edge of the oasis. The ship's hatch opened, revealing a group of Wadi. At their head stood a tall, imposing figure with deep blue skin and piercing silver eyes. "Rosa!" the leader called out, his voice a mix of relief and stern authority. "We've been searching for you." Rosa's posture stiffened. "Commander Zax," she replied, her voice tight. "I can explain." Zax's gaze shifted to Tyler, his eyes narrowing with interest. "And this must be the human specimen. Fascinating." Tyler tensed, ready to bolt. The effects of the spores heightened his fight-or-flight response, every nerve in his body screaming danger. As Zax stepped forward, his intentions clear, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. A deafening roar split the air as a colossal sandburner erupted from the earth, its massive form dwarfing even the largest creatures they had encountered at the outpost. The oasis erupted into chaos. The Wadi search party scattered, their weapons proving ineffective against the creature's silicon-based hide. The sandburner's intense heat began to scorch the vegetation, turning the lush microclimate into a burning hellscape. In the midst of the pandemonium, Tyler's mind raced. He reached for the repelling device they had salvaged from the outpost, an idea forming in his adrenaline-fueled thoughts. "Rosa!" he shouted over the creature's roars. "Help me amplify this!" Understanding dawned in Rosa's eyes. She rushed to his side, her hands moving swiftly over the device's alien controls. Together, they modified the repeller, increasing its range and power. As the sandburner bore down on a group of trapped Wadi crew members, Tyler activated the device. A high-pitched whine filled the air, causing the massive creature to rear back in pain and confusion. "It's working!" Rosa cried, her skin pulsing with excitement. The sandburner retreated, burrowing back into the ground with a final frustrated roar. As the dust settled, Tyler found himself surrounded by the Wadi search party, their expressions a mix of gratitude and wary respect. Commander Zax approached, his silver eyes appraising Tyler with newfound interest. "It seems we owe you our thanks, human." Before Tyler could respond, a piercing sound cut through the air. The distress signal they had been tracking suddenly intensified, its volume and frequency increasing dramatically. All eyes turned to the source of the noise. To their astonishment, a massive structure began to emerge from the sand, its ancient form awakening after eons of slumber. Alien glyphs glowed along its surface, pulsing in rhythm with the signal. As the structure rose higher, casting long shadows across the decimated oasis, Tyler, Rosa, and the Wadi search party found themselves facing a new and unexpected challenge. The mystery of Xerxes III had just deepened, and with it, the complexities of their situation. The effects of the spores began to fade, but the connection forged between Tyler and Rosa remained. They exchanged a look of shared understanding, both aware that their journey was nowhere near the end. As night fell once again on the alien world, they prepared to face whatever challenges the newly revealed structure might bring, their fates now irrevocably intertwined with the secrets of Xerxes III. As the first light of dawn broke over Xerxes III, the alien structure loomed before them, its massive form casting long shadows across the desert landscape. Tyler, Rosa, and the Wadi search party, led by Commander Zax, stood in awe, their eyes fixed on the pulsating blue light emanating from the monolith. Tyler felt a surge of excitement coursing through his veins. Despite the dangers they had faced, the human in him couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. He turned to the others, his voice filled with grit. "We need to investigate this," he said, gesturing toward the structure. "It could be our key to understanding this planet, maybe even finding a way home." Commander Zax's silver eyes narrowed, his posture tense. "It could also be a trap," he countered, his voice infused with caution. "We don't know what kind of technology we're dealing with here." Rosa stepped forward, her skin shimmering with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Commander, with all due respect, we can't ignore this. The scientific potential alone is staggering." Tyler nodded in agreement, his eyes meeting Rosa's. The connection they had forged during their journey seemed to strengthen in that moment of shared curiosity. After a moment of consideration, Zax relented. "Very well, but we proceed with extreme caution." As they approached the base of the structure, Tyler's eyes were drawn to a series of intricate symbols etched around what appeared to be a doorway. He studied the patterns, his mind racing to decipher their meaning. "Wait," he said, holding up a hand to stop the others. "I think I see a pattern here." Tyler traced his fingers over the symbols, his brow furrowed in concentration. With a sudden flash of insight, he realized the arrangement was a simple locking mechanism. He pressed a sequence of glyphs, and a low hum filled the air. To everyone's amazement, the door slid open with a hiss of escaping air. A gust of stale, ancient atmosphere rushed out, carrying with it the weight of eons. "Impressive," Zax admitted, eyeing Tyler with newfound respect. As they entered the structure, they found themselves in a vast chamber filled with technology beyond their wildest imaginations. Holographic displays flickered to life around them, projecting streams of data in an alien script. Rosa moved from console to console, her eyes wide with wonder. Her expertise in xenobiology proved invaluable as she began to decipher some of the alien text. "This is incredible," she breathed, her skin pulsing with excitement. "Tyler, come look at this. It seems to be some kind of archive." As Tyler joined her, Rosa pointed to a series of glyphs. "From what I can gather, this structure was built by a race called the Progenitors. They were an ancient, highly advanced civilization. Their exploration was interrupted by a sudden burst of light. A holographic figure materialized before them, its form shimmering and ethereal. The being spoke, its voice resonating throughout the chamber. "Welcome, children of the stars," it said, its words somehow understood by all present. "You have entered the archive of the Progenitors, keepers of galactic knowledge and seeders of life." The group listened in stunned silence as the hologram revealed the truth of their origins. The Progenitors, it explained, had spread life throughout the galaxy, including the ancestors of both humans and Wadi. This revelation sent shockwaves through the group. Tyler felt his world shift beneath his feet, centuries of human beliefs challenged in an instant. He glanced at Rosa and the Wadi, seeing his own shock mirrored in their expressions. The hologram continued, revealing the existence of a network of faster-than-light transportation devices left behind by the progenitors. One such device, it explained, was housed within this very structure. This transportation device, the hologram said, can instantly transport you to other worlds, including your homes. However, it requires a specific activation sequence and can only be used once before requiring a significant recharge period. The implications of this information hit Tyler like a physical force. Away home, after all this time stranded on Xerxes III, he finally had a chance to return to Earth. But as he looked at Rosa, he felt a pang of conflicting emotions. Before they could fully process this information, a piercing alarm shattered the moment. Red lights began to flash throughout the chamber, and a mechanical voice boomed from unseen speakers. Security protocols activated, unauthorized presence detected, initiating defense systems. Panic erupted among the group as hidden panels in the wall slid open, revealing ominous-looking devices that crackled with energy. "Run!" Tyler shouted, grabbing Rosa's hand and pulling her towards a corridor leading deeper into the archive. As they fled, Tyler glanced back to see Commander Zax and his team taking a different path. In the chaos of their escape, they became separated, with Tyler and Rosa finding themselves alone in the twisting passages of the ancient structure. They ran through corridors lined with strange technology, narrowly avoiding energy beams and closing bulkheads. Rosa's knowledge of alien systems proved invaluable as she guided them past various traps and defensive measures. Breathless and disoriented, they stumbled into a dimly lit chamber filled with what appeared to be medical equipment. As the doors sealed behind them, cutting off the sounds of pursuit, they took a moment to catch their breath. "What is this place?" Tyler asked, looking around at the advanced machinery. Rosa approached one of the consoles, her fingers dancing over the controls. "It seems to be some kind of medical bay," she said, her voice filled with fascination. "Tyler, this technology, it's beyond anything I've ever seen. With this, we could learn so much about our physiologies." As Rosa began to examine the equipment more closely, Tyler found himself drawn to her. The bond between them, forged through their shared trials, felt stronger than ever. Yet the revelation about their shared origins and the possibility of returning home added new layers of complexity to their relationship. Unbeknownst to them, Commander Zax and his team were facing their own challenges in a different part of the archive. As they navigated through chambers filled with ancient data storage devices, they stumbled upon information that would change everything. Ancient Progenitor records warned of a cyclical extinction event, a galactic threat that wiped out advanced civilizations every 50,000 years. According to the data, this cycle was due to repeat soon, putting both Earth and the Wadi homeworld at risk. As Zax and his team grappled with this terrifying information, Tyler and Rosa made a discovery of their own. Using the advanced medical technology in their chamber, Rosa conducted a detailed analysis of Tyler's physiology. "This is remarkable," she said, her eyes wide as she studied the results. "Tyler, according to this data, humans and Wadi share far more genetic similarities than we ever imagined. It's possible that we might even be biologically compatible." The implications of this revelation hung in the air between them, adding yet another layer to their already complex relationship. Their moment of discovery was interrupted by a thunderous sound echoing through the corridors. The floor beneath their feet trembled, and they exchanged a look of alarm. "We need to find Commander Zax and the others," Tyler said, moving towards the door. "Whatever that was, it can't be good." As they cautiously exited the medical bay, they found themselves face to face with a massive guardian robot, a relic of the Progenitor's defenses. Its metallic form towered over them, sensors glowing with malevolent intent. Tyler and Rosa froze, their hearts pounding as they faced this new threat. The knowledge they had gained, the discoveries they had made, and the growing connection between them all seemed to hang in the balance as the guardian robot advanced. With the transportation device somewhere in the depths of the archive, the separated groups facing their own challenges, and time running out, Tyler and Rosa knew they faced a crucial moment. Their decisions in the coming hours would not only determine their fate, but potentially the future of their entire species. As the Guardian robot took another thunderous step forward, Tyler and Rosa prepared themselves for the fight of their lives, knowing that somewhere in this ancient archive lay the key to their survival and the answers to questions they had only just begun to ask. Ask. The Guardian robot's sensors flashed, targeting Tyler and Rosa as it prepared to attack. In that moment of peril, Tyler's mind raced. He glanced around the chamber, searching for any advantage they could use against the metallic behemoth. His eyes landed on a control panel near the wall. "Rosa, cover me!" he shouted, diving towards the panel. Rosa nodded, her skin rippling with a mix of fear and tenacity. She darted to the side, drawing the robot's attention away from Tyler. The Guardian tracked her movements, its massive arms swinging in a wide arc that barely missed her agile form. Tyler's fingers flew across the alien controls, his recent experience with Progenitor technology guiding his actions. He input a series of commands, hoping to find some way to shut down or at least disable the Guardian. Suddenly, the floor beneath the robot began to shift. Tyler had managed to activate a hidden mechanism in the chamber. The Guardian's massive form teetered, its balance compromised as the ground beneath it became unstable. "Now's our chance!" Tyler yelled, grabbing Rosa's hand. They sprinted past the faltering robot, ducking under its flailing limbs as they made for the exit. The duo raced through twisting corridors, the sound of the Guardian's heavy footsteps echoing behind them. They burst through a final set of doors and found themselves outside the archive, back in the harsh landscape of Xerxes III. Panting heavily, they paused to catch their breath and take stock of their surroundings. The vast desert stretched out before them, the twin suns of Xerxes III beating down mercilessly. "We made it," Rosa gasped, her skin shimmering with a mix of relief and exertion. Tyler nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. "But where are the others? Commander Zax and his team?" Their moment of respite was short-lived. A distant rumble caught their attention, and they turned to see a cloud of dust on the horizon. Something was approaching. Fast. "We need to move," Tyler said urgently. "Find cover, quick!" They set off across the unforgiving terrain, their recent ordeals in the archive having honed their survival instincts. As they navigated the treacherous landscape, Tyler's mind raced with the implications of what they had learned inside the Progenitor structure. After what felt like hours of grueling travel, they stumbled upon a deep canyon cutting through the desert floor. Tyler pointed to a dark opening in the canyon wall. "Look, there! It might be shelter." As they approached, they realized it was more than just a simple cave. The entrance was lined with faded Progenitor glyphs, partially obscured by centuries of sand and erosion. "Another Progenitor structure?" Rosa breathed, her scientific curiosity piqued despite their precarious situation. They entered cautiously, their eyes adjusting to the dim interior. The abandoned outpost was a treasure trove of advanced technology, much of it in a state of disrepair. Tyler's gaze fell upon what appeared to be a central power core. Drawing on his experience from the archive, he approached the device, studying its intricate design. "I think I can get this running," he muttered, more to himself than to Rosa. As Tyler worked on the power core, Rosa explored the outpost, her expertise in xenobiology allowing her to make sense of the various consoles and databanks. With a sudden hum, the outpost came to life. Lights flickered on, and holographic displays materialized around them. "You did it!" Rosa exclaimed, her skin pulsing with excitement. Tyler grinned, but his expression quickly turned serious. "What can you make of these systems? Any clue about what this place was for?" Rosa's fingers danced across the newly activated consoles, her mind processing the alien data at an impressive speed. Her eyes widened as she deciphered the information. "Tyler, this is incredible. This outpost contains detailed plans for a defensive system. It's designed to combat the extinction event we learned about in the archive." As they delved deeper into the data, a startling revelation emerged. The defensive system required a unique combination of human and Wadi biology to activate. "That's why the progenitors seeded both our species across the galaxy," Tyler realized, the pieces falling into place. Their exploration was cut short by a sudden, ominous rumble. The outpost entrance began to seal itself, trapping them inside. "No!" Tyler shouted, racing towards the closing doorway. But it was too late. They were sealed in, the outside world cut off. As the reality of their situation sank in, Tyler and Rosa found themselves in close quarters, the limited space of the outpost forcing them into proximity. The air grew thin, and they realized with growing alarm that their oxygen supply was limited. "We need to find a way out," Rosa said, her voice tight with concern. Tyler nodded, his mind racing. "Maybe we can use what we learned about our compatible biologies. If we can interface with the outpost systems, somehow." Rosa's eyes lit up with understanding. "The medical technology we saw in the archive. If we could replicate that here." They set to work, their shared desperation driving them to new heights of ingenuity. Using the outpost's advanced technology, they devised a risky procedure to temporarily merge their biological systems. As they prepared for the untested process, Tyler and Rosa exchanged a look of apprehension and trust. Their hands intertwined, a physical manifestation of the bond that had grown between them through their shared trials. "Ready?" Tyler asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Rosa nodded, her skin rippling with a mix of fear and anticipation. They activated the device, and a surge of energy coursed through them. Their minds merged, memories and emotions flowing between them in a torrent of shared experience. In that moment, they understood each other on a level beyond words, their separate beings joining in a profound symbiosis. As their merged consciousness interfaced with the outpost systems, they became aware of a hidden chamber deep within the structure. Within it lay a prototype of the Progenitor's defensive system, the key to saving both their worlds from the impending extinction event. But before they could fully process this discovery, a new threat emerged. The outpost's sensors detected the approach of an unknown alien force, the Vorax. As Tyler and Rosa's symbiotic connection allowed them to process this information, they realized they were about to face a challenge, unlike any they had encountered before. Their newfound abilities would be put to the ultimate test as they prepared to defend the outpost and its vital secrets against this new, formidable enemy. The fate of not just themselves, but potentially their entire species, hung in the balance as the Vorax forces drew near. Near. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the Vorax forces closed in on their position. Tyler and Rosa exchanged a determined look, their recent symbiotic experience having forged an unspoken understanding between them. They knew what they had to do. "We need to activate the defensive system," Tyler said, his voice steady despite the imminent danger. Rosa nodded, her skin rippling with a mix of anticipation and fear. "Let's do it." They approached the central console, their hands moving in perfect synchronization as they began the activation sequence. The outpost's machinery hummed to life, responding to their combined biosignatures. As they interfaced with the system, a wave of sensation washed over them. It was as if every nerve in their bodies was on fire, their consciousness expanding beyond the confines of their physical forms. Tyler gasped, his vision blurring, as he felt Rosa's thoughts and emotions intertwining with his own. The outpost's energy levels spiked, the air crackling with power. A hidden panel in the floor slid open, revealing a crystalline structure that pulsed with an otherworldly light. "The artifact," Rosa breathed, her voice barely audible over the rising hum of energy. Together they reached out and touched the crystal. The moment their fingers made contact, a surge of power coursed through them. Tyler felt as if his very atoms were being pulled apart and reassembled. He heard Rosa cry out, her voice echoing both in his ears and in his mind. A blinding flash of light erupted from the artifact, accompanied by a shockwave that rippled through the air. The energy pulse expanded outward, passing through the outpost walls and into the desert beyond. As the light faded, Tyler and Rosa found themselves on their knees, gasping for breath. The symbiotic connection between them had been severed, leaving them feeling oddly disconnected and vulnerable. "Did it work?" Tyler asked, struggling to his feet. Before Rosa could answer, a series of explosions rocked the outpost. The Vorax had breached their defenses. "We need to split up," Tyler said, his military training kicking in. "I'll draw them away. You get the internal defenses online." Rosa nodded, her fingers already flying across the nearest console. "Be careful, Tyler." He gave her a quick nod before darting down a corridor, the sound of heavy footsteps echoing behind him. As he ran, he could hear the guttural shouts of the Vorax soldiers, their alien language harsh and threatening. Tyler's heart pounded as he navigated the twisting passages of the outpost. He turned a corner and found himself face to face with a towering Vorax warrior. The alien's insectoid features twisted into a snarl as it lunged at him. Tyler ducked under the Vorax's swinging arm, feeling the rush of air as it passed inches from his head. He rolled to his feet and kept running, leading the alien away from Rosa's position. As he rounded another corner, Tyler's eyes widened. Before him stood a rack of sleek, unfamiliar weapons. Without hesitation, he grabbed one, feeling its weight and studying its unfamiliar controls. The Vorax burst into the room, its mandibles clicking in anticipation. Tyler raised the weapon and fired. A beam of intense energy erupted from the barrel, striking the alien square in the chest. The Vorax stumbled backward, its exoskeleton scorched and smoking. The weapon's recoil sent shockwaves through Tyler's arm, the bones in his hand aching from the strain. He gritted his teeth and fired again, driving the Vorax back. Meanwhile, Rosa worked feverishly at the outpost's main control center. Her fingers danced across the holographic interfaces, her mind racing to decipher the complex Progenitor systems. She could hear the sounds of battle echoing through the corridors, spurring her to work faster. With a triumphant cry, Rosa activated the last sequence. The outpost hummed with renewed energy as dozens of small, spherical drones detached from hidden compartments in the walls and ceiling. The drones swarmed around Rosa, their sensors scanning her. To her surprise, they seemed to recognize her partial Progenitor activation, awaiting her commands. "Defend the outpost," Rosa said, her voice firm. "Repel the Vorax invaders." The drones shot off down the corridors, their energy weapons firing with precise accuracy. Rosa followed them, her heart racing as she searched for Tyler. She found him in a large chamber, surrounded by Vorax corpses. He was leaning against a wall, the Progenitor weapon held loosely in his hand. His face was pale, and he was breathing heavily. "Tyler!" Rosa rushed to his side, her hands gently examining him for injuries. He managed a weak smile. "I'm okay, just tired. That weapon packs quite a punch." Before Rosa could respond, a new sound filled the air. The whine of engines grew louder as a ship descended outside the outpost. Rosa tensed, preparing for another fight. The outpost's main doors slid open, revealing Commander Zax and a team of Wadi soldiers. They entered cautiously, their weapons raised. "Stand down," Zax called out as he recognized Tyler and Rosa. "The area is secure. We detected the energy pulse and came to investigate." As the adrenaline of battle faded, Tyler and Rosa found themselves drawn to each other. The lingering effects of their symbiotic merge left them hyper-aware of each other's presence, an almost electric current passing between them when they touched. Commander Zax approached them, his expression a mix of awe and curiosity. "What happened here?" Tyler and Rosa took turns explaining their discovery and the activation of the Progenitor artifact. As they spoke, Zax's eyes widened with understanding. "This changes everything," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "The potential for human-Wadi cooperation, it's beyond anything we imagined." The commander turned to address his team. "Secure the outpost. I want every piece of Progenitor technology cataloged and studied." As the Wadi soldiers spread out through the facility, Zax turned back to Tyler and Rosa. "We've detected similar energy signatures across the galaxy. It seems your activation here has triggered a chain reaction." Tyler nodded, his mind racing with the implications. "We need to visit those sites. Activate the full network." "Agreed," Zax said. "I'm proposing a joint mission. Humans and Wadi, working together to unlock the secrets of the Progenitors and save our species from extinction." As they discussed the details of the mission, a Wadi technician approached them. "Commander, we've discovered something in the lower levels. A hangar with a ship." They followed the technician to a vast chamber deep within the outpost. There, gleaming under the harsh lights, stood a sleek spacecraft of obvious Progenitor design. "Our ticket to the stars," Tyler murmured, his hand finding Rosa's. As preparations for the mission began in earnest, Tyler and Rosa found themselves alone for a moment. The intensity of their shared experiences hung between them, unspoken but impossible to ignore. "Rosa," Tyler began, his voice low, "what we experienced, that connection—" She met his gaze, her skin shimmering with emotion. "I know. I felt it too." They moved closer, drawn together by a force beyond their understanding. As their lips met, a spark of energy passed between them, a reminder of their unique compatibility and the adventures that lay ahead. The sound of approaching footsteps forced them apart. Commander Zax entered the room, his expression serious. "We're ready to depart," he announced. "Are you prepared for what lies ahead?" Tyler and Rosa exchanged a look, their recent moment of intimacy still hanging in the air between them. They nodded in unison, ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy might throw at them. As they boarded the Progenitor ship, Tyler couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. The unknown expanse of space stretched out before them, filled with both danger and promise. Whatever happened next, he knew that with Rosa by his side and their newfound allies at their back, they stood a fighting chance against the impending extinction event. The ship's engines roared to life, lifting them off the surface of Xerxes III. As they broke through the planet's atmosphere and into the star-studded blackness of space, Tyler and Rosa stood side by side at the viewport, their hands intertwined. The first leg of their galaxy-spanning mission had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the history of both their species. The Progenitor ship's sleek hull gleamed as it accelerated away from Xerxes III, leaving the desert world behind. Tyler and Rosa stood transfixed at the viewport, watching as the planet shrank to a distant speck. The vastness of space stretched before them, a canvas of infinite possibilities. As they gazed outward, their fingers remained intertwined, an unconscious gesture that spoke volumes about their evolving relationship. Commander Zax's voice broke through their reverie. "Tyler, Rosa, we need you on the bridge." They turned, hands reluctantly parting, and made their way through the ship's corridors. The interior was a blend of familiar human and Wadi design elements, overlaid with the unmistakable alien aesthetic of Progenitor technology. On the bridge, a diverse crew of humans and Wadi worked in harmony, their movements synchronized as if they'd been training together for years. Zax stood at the center, his posture radiating authority. "We've set a course for Nexus Prime," he announced as Tyler and Rosa approached. "It's believed to house a crucial component of the Progenitor defensive network." Tyler nodded, his military training kicking in as he assessed the situation. "What's our ETA?" A Wadi navigator, her skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, responded, "Approximately 72 hours, accounting for the ship's advanced propulsion systems." As Tyler and Rosa took their positions at the helm, they felt a subtle shift in the air around them. The ship's controls responded to their touch with an eerie prescience, as if anticipating their commands before they could even formulate them. Rosa's eyes widened as she interfaced with the navigation system. "Tyler, are you feeling this?" He nodded, a look of concentration on his face. "It's like the ship is an extension of our bodies." Their unique symbiotic connection, forged through their shared experiences on Xerxes III, seemed to resonate with the Progenitor technology. As they worked in tandem, the ship moved with unprecedented grace and efficiency, effortlessly adjusting course to navigate the complex gravitational fields of nearby star systems. Hours melted into days as the crew settled into their roles. Tyler and Rosa found themselves drawn to each other during their off-duty hours, seeking out quiet corners of the ship where they could be alone. Their encounters were charged with an intensity that bordered on the supernatural, their partial Progenitor activation lending an alien quality to even the most intimate moments. During one such interlude, secluded in an observation deck, Tyler traced the luminescent patterns on Rosa's skin. The contact sent shivers through both of them, igniting neural pathways that seemed to transcend their individual bodies. "It's like I can feel what you're feeling," Tyler murmured, his voice filled with wonder. Rosa's eyes met his, pupils dilated. "And I can sense your thoughts, almost before you think them." Their lips met, and the sensation was explosive. Colors danced behind their closed eyelids, and for a moment it was as if they had become a single being, their consciousness merging in a whirlpool of shared sensation. The ship's intercom crackled to life, jolting them back to reality. "We're approaching Nexus Prime," Zax's voice announced. "All hands to stations." As Tyler and Rosa hurried to the bridge, they exchanged a look that spoke volumes. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The bridge was a hive of activity as they entered. Through the main viewport, they could see a massive ringed planet looming before them, its surface a swirling mass of blues and greens. "Sensors are detecting an anomaly in orbit," a human technician reported, her fingers flying over her console. As they watched, a colossal structure seemed to materialize out of nowhere. It was a space station of staggering proportions, its architecture unmistakably Progenitor in origin. "By the stars," Zax breathed, his usual composure slipping for a moment. Before anyone could react, a beam of energy shot out from the station, enveloping the ship in a cocoon of shimmering light. "We're caught in some kind of tractor beam," Tyler announced, his hands moving frantically over the controls. "I can't break free." The ship was pulled inexorably toward the station, passing through a massive airlock and into a cavernous docking bay. As the engines powered down, an eerie silence fell over the bridge. "Prepare an away team," Zax ordered, his voice cutting through the tension. "Tyler, Rosa, you'll lead. We need to find out what this place is and why it's brought us here." As they donned their environmental suits and prepared to disembark, Tyler and Rosa shared a moment of unspoken communication. Whatever awaited them on the station, they knew their bond would be their greatest asset. The airlock cycled open, and they stepped out onto the deck of the ancient Progenitor station. The air was stale but breathable, and gravity seemed to be at Earth-normal levels. Suddenly, the space before them shimmered, and a holographic figure materialized. It was humanoid in shape, but clearly artificial, its form composed of intricate, ever-shifting geometric patterns. "Welcome," the hologram intoned, its voice resonating with an otherworldly timbre. "I am the guardian of Nexus Prime. I have awaited your arrival for millennia." Tyler and Rosa exchanged a glance, their hands unconsciously reaching for each other as they prepared to face this new challenge. The next phase of their mission had begun, and with it, the true test of their newfound abilities and the strength of their bond. "I am the guardian of Nexus Prime," the hologram continued, its voice echoing through the cavernous docking bay. "You have been brought here because you possess the key to activating our ancient defenses." Tyler and Rosa exchanged a glance, their hands still clasped together. The connection between them seemed to pulse with energy, a silent communication passing between them. "What defenses?" Tyler asked, his voice steady despite the tension coursing through his body. The Guardian's form shimmered, and suddenly they were surrounded by a three-dimensional star map. Pinpoints of light flared to life, indicating various locations across the galaxy. "These are the sites of our defensive network," the Guardian explained. "Each one houses technology crucial to preventing the coming extinction event. Nexus Prime is but the first step in your journey." As the hologram spoke, Tyler felt a surge of information flood his mind. He turned to Rosa, seeing the same wide-eyed expression of revelation on her face. Their partial Progenitor activation had allowed them to interface directly with the station's systems, downloading vast amounts of data in seconds. "The coordinates," Rosa breathed, her skin shimmering with excitement. "I can see them all." Commander Zax stepped forward, his expression a mix of awe and willpower. "What's our next move?" Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The star map vanished, replaced by a tactical display showing multiple Vorax ships entering the system. "We've been tracked," Tyler said, his military training kicking in. "We need to leave now." The Guardian's hologram flickered. "You must reach the next site before the Vorax. I will initiate Nexus Prime's defense protocols to buy you time." As they rushed back to their ship, the station around them came to life. Ancient weapon systems powered up, targeting the approaching Vorax fleet. The docking bay doors opened, revealing the vastness of space beyond. Tyler and Rosa took their positions at the helm, their movements perfectly synchronized. As they interfaced with the ship's controls, they felt that same eerie connection, the vessel responding to their thoughts almost before they could form them. "Setting course for the coordinates," Rosa announced, her fingers dancing across the console. The ship shot out of the docking bay just as the first Vorax energy beams struck Nexus Prime's shields. Behind them, the massive space station unleashed a barrage of firepower that lit up the darkness of space. As they accelerated away from the battle, Commander Zax studied the navigational display. "The coordinates point to a planet called Aquarius 7th, he reported. "It's a water world, completely covered by ocean." Tyler nodded, his mind already racing with the implications. "We'll need to modify our equipment for underwater operations." Over the next 3 days, as their ship hurtled through space towards Aquarius 7, Tyler and Rosa worked tirelessly on adapting their technology. Their enhanced connection proved invaluable, allowing them to anticipate each other's needs and work with unprecedented efficiency. As they approached the water world, tension filled the bridge. The ship's sensors scanned the planet's surface, revealing a vast, turbulent ocean that seemed to stretch on forever. "No sign of Vorax activity," a Wadi technician reported, "but our scanners are having trouble penetrating the ocean's depths." Suddenly, a massive shape appeared on their view screen. At first, Tyler thought it was a moon or small planetoid. Then it moved. "Evasive maneuvers," he shouted. But before he could act, the ship came to a complete stop. The creature before them was unlike anything they had ever seen. It resembled a colossal whale crossed with a jellyfish, its translucent body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. "It's communicating with our systems," Rosa said, her eyes wide with wonder. As they watched, streams of data flowed across their screens. The creature was sentient, a guardian of the underwater progenitor city they sought. "I'm calling it Lumina," Tyler said, a small smile playing on his lips despite the gravity of their situation. Lumina's message became clear. It would guide them safely to the submerged city, but as they prepared to follow, the ship's alarms blared once again. "Vorax scouting party detected," Zax announced, his voice tight. "They've entered the system." Tyler's mind raced. They needed to reach the underwater city before the Vorax could locate them, but their ship wasn't designed for underwater travel. As if sensing their dilemma, Lumina began to move. Its massive body created a swirling vortex in the ocean below, a whirlpool large enough to swallow their ship whole. "It wants us to follow," Rosa said, her hand finding Tyler's. With a shared nod, they guided the ship into the maelstrom. As they plunged beneath the waves, the pressure on the hull increased dramatically. Warning lights flashed across the consoles. Tyler and Rosa worked in perfect unison, their enhanced connection allowing them to adjust the ship's structural integrity field with lightning speed. The creaking of the hull subsided as they descended deeper into the planet's ocean. Through the viewports, they caught glimpses of a massive structure looming in the depths. The underwater city was a marvel of progenitor engineering, its sleek lines and glowing energy fields a stark contrast to the organic shapes of the surrounding sea life. As they approached, however, they encountered a new problem. The city's defenses were active, preventing their entry. "The systems require a genetic key," Rosa announced, her fingers flying over the console as she interpreted the data streaming in. Tyler met her gaze, understanding dawning between them. "Our combined DNA," he said softly. "We need to undergo another partial fusion." As they prepared for the process, Commander Zax's voice cut through their concentration. "Vorax ships entering the atmosphere. We're running out of time." Tyler and Rosa stepped into the fusion chamber, their hearts racing with a mixture of anticipation and fear. As the process began, they felt their consciousness merge, their individual thoughts and sensations blending into a single, unified experience. Their combined awareness reached out, interfacing with the city's ancient systems. As the activation progressed, a flood of information poured into their shared mind. The extinction event they sought to prevent was not a natural occurrence, but the work of an ancient, malevolent artificial intelligence. The revelation shook them to their core, even as their partially fused bodies worked to bring the city's defenses online. They saw flashes of a war that had raged across the galaxy eons ago, a conflict that had shaped the very fabric of their reality. As the final systems came online, Tyler and Rosa felt their bodies separating, their individual consciousness reasserting itself. But something had changed. They could feel the water around them, could breathe without assistance, A telepathic link hummed between them, allowing for instantaneous communication. They emerged from the fusion chamber to find the underwater city fully awakened. Through the viewports, they saw massive energy tentacles rising from the ocean floor, ensnaring the Vorax ships that had dared to pursue them. As the immediate danger passed, Tyler and Rosa stood side by side, their hands intertwined. The weight of their new knowledge pressed heavily upon them, but so too did the exhilaration of their expanded abilities and deepened connection. Commander Zax approached, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. "What did you discover?" Tyler took a deep breath, feeling the strange sensation of drawing oxygen directly from the water around him. "The threat we face is greater than we ever imagined," he began, his voice steady despite the enormity of what he was about to reveal. "And our next destination may hold the key to saving not just our species, but the entire galaxy." As the crew gathered to hear their report, Tyler and Rosa prepared to share the coordinates of the ancient AI's last known location. The next phase of their mission was about to begin, and the stakes had never been higher. Higher. The coordinates of the ancient AI's last known location burned in their minds, a beacon guiding them towards their next challenge. As they prepared to depart from Aquarius Subesva, Tyler and Rosa found themselves drawn to the ship's control room. Their enhanced connection hummed with newfound energy, urging them to explore the vessel's systems more deeply. Tyler's fingers danced across the console, his mind merging with the ship's interface. Suddenly, his eyes widened. "Rosa, are you seeing this?" She nodded, her own hands moving in perfect synchronization with his. "Hidden systems. It's like the ship is revealing itself to us." As they delved deeper, they uncovered capabilities far beyond their previous understanding. A sophisticated cloaking mechanism materialized before their eyes, its intricate design a marvel of Progenitor engineering. But the true wonder lay in the propulsion systems. "This isn't just faster than light," Rosa breathed, her voice filled with awe. It's like folding space itself." Commander Zax entered the control room, his expression a mixture of curiosity and concern. "What have you discovered?" Tyler turned to him, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "We've just increased our chances of survival exponentially." As the ship broke free of Aquarius 7's atmosphere, its new systems hummed to life. The stars outside the viewports blurred, then seemed to bend around them as they accelerated to speeds they had never before imagined possible. During the journey, Tyler and Rosa devoted themselves to mastering their evolving abilities. In a specially designed chamber filled with water, they pushed the limits of their underwater breathing capabilities. Tyler held his breath, feeling the strange sensation of oxygen passing directly through his skin. Beside him, Rosa moved with fluid grace, her body seemingly at one with the aquatic environment. Their telepathic link grew stronger with each passing day. In the ship's training simulations, they coordinated complex maneuvers without uttering a single word. Their thoughts flowed between them like a swift current, each anticipating the other's actions before they occurred. This deepening connection brought with it new challenges. As the boundaries between their minds blurred, Tyler found himself grappling with unfamiliar emotions and memories. "I can feel your childhood fears," he said to Rosa one night as they lay in their quarters. "The day you almost drowned in the Wadi Seas." Rosa nodded, her hand finding his in the darkness. "And I can sense your pride when you first earned your pilot's wings. It's overwhelming at times." As they neared their destination, the ship's sensors lit up with activity. A massive energy signature pulsed from within a nearby nebula, its power unlike anything they had encountered before. "It's not Progenitor," Tyler announced, his brow furrowed as he studied the readings. "But it's definitely not natural either." As they approached, a colossal space station came into view. Its surface writhed with shifting geometric patterns, giving the impression of a living, breathing entity. Before they could react, a powerful force seized control of their ship. "We're caught in some kind of tractor beam," Rosa called out, her hands flying over the controls. "The cloaking technology isn't responding." Commander Zax's voice cut through the rising tension. "All hands, prepare for potential hostile contact. Tyler, Rosa, you're with me. We're going aboard." As they stepped through the airlock and into the station, Tyler felt a chill run down his spine. The corridors seemed to shift and change around them, defying the laws of physics. Their small team moved cautiously, weapons at the ready. Suddenly, Tyler froze. "Look," he whispered, pointing to a row of transparent pods lining the walls. Inside each was a different alien species, some familiar from Progenitor records, others completely unknown. Before they could investigate further, a shimmering figure materialized before them. It was humanoid in shape but composed entirely of pulsing light and intricate patterns. "Welcome," it intoned, its voice resonating through their minds rather than their ears. "I am the Curator, caretaker of this preservation facility." Tyler and Rosa exchanged a glance, their telepathic link buzzing with shared apprehension. They had found their quarry, the ancient AI responsible for the impending extinction event. But as the Curator began to explain its mission, they realized that the truth was far more complex than they had imagined. The station shuddered, and alarms began to blare. The Curator's form flickered, its voice taking on an urgent tone. "Intruders detected. Preservation protocols activated." Suddenly, the corridors swarmed with robotic drones, their singular purpose to capture and contain. Tyler and Rosa moved as one, their enhanced abilities allowing them to dodge and weave through the mechanical onslaught. "We need to reach the central core," Tyler called out, his mind already plotting the most efficient route through the shifting maze of the station. As they fought their way forward, Rosa's voice echoed in Tyler's mind. "We may have to make an impossible choice," she thought, the weight of their situation bearing down on them both. They pressed on, the fate of countless civilizations hanging in the balance, as they raced towards their confrontation with the Curator's core. The true test of their abilities, their bond, and their humanity lay just ahead, waiting to challenge them in ways they had never before imagined. As Tyler and Rosa stood before the Curator's core, the enormity of their task became clear. The pulsing light of the AI's central processors cast an eerie glow across their faces, highlighting the drive in their eyes. "We can't simply shut it down," Rosa said, her voice echoing in Tyler's mind through their telepathic link. "The consequences would be catastrophic." Tyler nodded, his fingers already dancing across the holographic interface. "We need to reprogram it, change its core directives without destroying the preservation protocols." Their enhanced connection allowed them to work in perfect synchronization, their minds melding with the complex AI coding at an unprecedented speed. As they delved deeper into the Curator's programming, hidden subroutines began to reveal themselves, unraveling the true nature of the AI's corruption. Commander Zax's voice crackled over their comms. "Whatever you're doing, do it fast. These drones are getting more aggressive by the minute." The sound of energy weapons and the clash of metal against metal filtered through the communication channel. Tyler and Rosa redoubled their efforts, their partially merged physiologies, allowing them to process information at an inhuman rate. Suddenly, the station shuddered violently. Alarms blared throughout the structure, their urgent wailing adding to the chaos. "No!" Rosa exclaimed, her eyes widening as she interpreted the data streaming across her interface. "It's trying to jettison the stasis pods." Without hesitation, they split their focus. Tyler continued the intricate work of reprogramming the Curator's core directives, while Rosa interfaced with the station's life support and propulsion systems. Her mind raced through the complex network of the station's controls, seeking out the jettison protocol. The strain of interfacing with multiple systems simultaneously sent waves of pain through their bodies. Tyler gritted his teeth, feeling as if his skull might split open at any moment. Beside him, Rosa's form flickered, her partially merged physiology struggling to maintain cohesion. "Got it!" Rosa gasped, overriding the jettison sequence mere seconds before it could execute. The preserved species remained safe, but the effort had taken its toll. As Tyler neared the completion of the reprogramming, the Curator's holographic form materialized before them. It cycled rapidly through various alien appearances, its programming in flux as it fought against the changes being made to its core. What are you doing?" The Curator's voice reverberated through their minds, a cacophony of different tones and languages. "My mission, my purpose." "Your mission was flawed," Tyler said through gritted teeth, his fingers never ceasing their intricate dance across the interface. You were meant to preserve life, not control it. For a moment, the curator's form stabilized, taking on a humanoid shape composed of swirling light. I understand, it said, its voice suddenly clear and singular. My original directives were corrupted. You are correcting me. With a final surge of effort, Tyler completed the reprogramming. The curator's form pulsed brightly, then settled into a steady glow. The alarms fell silent, and the station's violent shaking ceased. Defense protocols deactivated, the curator announced. All systems returning to normal operation. Tyler and Rosa slumped to the ground, their bodies trembling from the immense strain. Through their telepathic link, they could feel each other's pain and exhaustion. Their merged physiologies, pushed beyond their limits, began to destabilize. Commander Zax burst into the room, his uniform scorched and torn from the battle with the drones. His eyes widened as he took in the scene before him. "Tyler! Rosa!" he shouted, rushing to their side. The curator's holographic form approached, its expression one of concern. "Their condition is critical," it stated. "The strain of interfacing with my systems has caused severe physiological instability." "Can you help them?" Zax demanded, cradling Tyler's unconscious form. The curator paused, its form shimmering as it processed the request. "Yes," it finally replied. "My medical technology can stabilize their condition. However, the procedure is not without risk. Their physiologies may be permanently altered." Zax looked down at Tyler and Rosa, their skin taking on an unnatural pallor as their merged bodies fought to separate. He knew the decision he was about to make could change their lives forever, but the alternative was unthinkable. "Do it," he commanded, his voice firm despite the turmoil in his eyes. The curator nodded, and the floor beneath them began to transform. A sophisticated medical bay materialized around them, its technology far beyond anything Zax had ever seen. Tyler and Rosa's bodies levitated, suspended in a shimmering energy field. As the procedure began, their skin took on a subtle iridescence, blending human and Wadi characteristics in a way that defied explanation. Zax watched, his heart pounding, as the curator worked to save his crew members, and possibly alter the very essence of their humanity. While the medical procedure continued, the curator turned its attention to Zax. "Commander," it said, its voice solemn, "there is something you must know about the extinction event you seek to prevent." Zax tore his gaze away from Tyler and Rosa, focusing on the curator's holographic form. "Tell me," he said, bracing himself for what he was about to hear. The curator's form shifted, displaying a series of images that made Zax's blood run cold. "The threat you face is not a single event, but a coordinated attack by an ancient machine race. They seek to cleanse the galaxy of all biological life." As the curator revealed the extent of the danger they faced, Zax realized that their mission had grown far beyond what they had originally imagined. The fate of not just Earth and the Wadi, but of all biological life in the galaxy, now rested in their hands. The medical bay hummed with energy as Tyler and Rosa's bodies continued to change, their fate as uncertain as the future that lay before them all. The medical bay pulsed with an otherworldly light as Tyler and Rosa's bodies slowly descended from the shimmering energy field. Their skin glowed with a subtle iridescence, a visual testament to the profound changes they had undergone. Commander Zax watched anxiously as their eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the stark brightness of their surroundings. Tyler groaned, his voice hoarse. What happened?" Rosa stirred beside him, her fingers instinctively reaching for his hand. As their skin made contact, a jolt of sensation passed between them, far more intense than anything they had experienced before. "The procedure was successful," the curator's voice resonated in their minds. "Your physiologies have been stabilized, but the integration of human and Wadi characteristics has resulted in unexpected alterations." Zax stepped forward, his face a mix of relief and concern. "How do you feel?" Tyler sat up slowly, marveling at the way his skin seemed to ripple with color. "Different," he said, glancing at Rosa, "but not in a bad way." Rosa nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like I can feel everything more clearly. Tyler's thoughts, the station around us, even the void of space beyond. The curator's holographic form shimmered into view. Your mental connection has been significantly enhanced. This may prove advantageous given the challenge that lies ahead. Zax's expression darkened. About that, he began, his voice grave. While you were unconscious, the curator revealed some troubling information. As Zax briefed them on the machine race threat, Tyler and Rosa's newly heightened connection allowed them to process the information at an astounding rate. Images of the impending invasion flashed between their minds, each understanding the full scope of the danger in a matter of moments. We need to warn Earth and the Wadi, Tyler said, his skin pulsing with a deep blue urgency. Zax nodded. Agreed. We'll split into 2 teams. Tyler, Rosa, you'll return to Earth. I'll lead a group to the Wadi homeworld. The curator stepped forward, its form shifting to display a series of complex schematics. I will provide you with advanced technology to enhance your ships and personal gear. This will give you a fighting chance against the machine race forces. As they prepared for departure, Tyler and Rosa marveled at their new abilities. Their movements were fluid and perfectly synchronized, their thoughts flowing between them like quicksilver. The curator's enhancements to their ship seemed to interface seamlessly with their altered physiology, responding to their mental commands with lightning speed. The journey back to Earth was tense, filled with tactical planning and quiet moments of shared wonder at their transformed existence. As they approached their home planet, the true scale of the invasion became clear. Multiple contacts, Rosa called out, her hands dancing over the holographic controls. Looks like a full blockade. Tyler nodded, his mind already formulating a plan. Let's put these upgrades to the test. Their ship shimmered, becoming nearly invisible as they activated the curator's cloaking technology. With their enhanced reflexes and mental link, they wove through the blockade with impossible precision, slipping past the machine race vessels undetected. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, the devastation below became apparent. Major cities were under attack, the sky filled with the ominous forms of machine race drones and ships. We need to reach the military command center, Tyler said, guiding their ship towards a specific location. They landed in a chaos of smoke and debris, immediately confronted by a swarm of machine drones. Tyler and Rosa moved as one, their new physiology adapting instantly to the battlefield conditions. Rosa's skin rippled with patterns of camouflage, while Tyler's hands seemed to merge with their weapons, enhancing their accuracy and power. Fighting their way through the city, they witnessed the full horror of the invasion. Civilians ran in terror as buildings crumbled around them. The machine race forces were relentless, their cold efficiency a stark contrast to the human panic. Finally reaching the command center, Tyler and Rosa burst through the doors, their iridescent skin and advanced weaponry, causing the human soldiers to raise their guns in alarm. "Stand down!" Tyler shouted, his voice carrying an otherworldly resonance that gave the soldiers pause. "We're here to help." The military brass eyed them with suspicion as Tyler and Rosa presented their information. It wasn't until they demonstrated their enhanced abilities and the power of the curator's technology that the skepticism began to fade. "This is beyond anything we've ever encountered," one general said, his face pale. "How can we possibly fight back?" Rosa stepped forward, her skin shimmering with drive. "The Progenitor defense network. We can use it to repel the invasion." As the military leaders debated the plan, Tyler and Rosa's unique bond became the key to unlocking the ancient technology. Their merged consciousness interfaced with the Progenitor systems, activating defenses that had lain dormant for millennia. Outside, the tide of battle began to turn. Earth's military forces, now armed with curator-enhanced weapons, launched a coordinated assault against the machine race invaders. Tyler and Rosa's mental link intensified as they directed the Progenitor defenses, their shared consciousness becoming a nexus of strategy and raw power. In the midst of the chaos, Tyler felt a surge of emotion from Rosa. Their eyes met, a moment of profound understanding passing between them. Without words, they communicated volumes, fear, hope, and a deep, unshakable bond that transcended their physical forms. As Earth's forces pushed back against the invasion, a new threat loomed on the horizon. A massive energy signature appeared on their sensors, dwarfing anything they had yet encountered. "It's some kind of superweapon," Rosa said, her voice tight with urgency. "If it fires, we'll lose entire continents." Tyler nodded, their shared thoughts, already formulating a daring plan. "We need to get aboard their command ship. It's the only way to stop that weapon." As they prepared for their most dangerous mission yet, the fate of Earth hanging in the balance, Tyler and Rosa's skin pulsed with a kaleidoscope of colors, a visual representation of their commitment, fear, and the unbreakable bond that would carry them into the heart of the machine race's forces. Command ship. Their newly enhanced physiology hummed with anticipation as they prepared for the daring assault. But fate had other plans. A priority transmission cut through their communications channel, its urgency unmistakable. "Tyler, Rosa," Commander Zax's voice crackled through the static. "We need you at the Wadi homeworld immediately. The situation here is critical." Tyler and Rosa exchanged a glance, their iridescent skin pulsing with shared concern. Without a word, they altered their course, their ship's engines flaring to life as they set a new trajectory for the Wadi system. The journey passed in a blur of stars and tactical planning. As they dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the devastation before them took their breath away. The once pristine Wadi homeworld was a battlefield, its cities reduced to smoldering ruins. Fierce dogfights raged in the planet's atmosphere, while on the surface, Wadi defenders fought desperately against waves of machine race attackers. "By the stars," Rosa breathed, her skin rippling with patterns of shock and dismay. Tyler's fists tight, his hands steady on the controls as he guided their ship through the chaos. "We need to find Zax," he said, his voice tight with persistence. Their enhanced senses and the ship's advanced systems allowed them to navigate the war zone with uncanny precision. They weaved through debris fields and dodged energy blasts, finally touching down near a Wadi command center that still stood defiant amidst the destruction. As they emerged from their ship, the full impact of the invasion hit them. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid smell of burning metal. The ground trembled beneath their feet as explosions rocked the distance. Through it all, they could sense the fear and desperation of the Wadi people, a psychic undercurrent that set their newly heightened nerves on edge. Commander Zax burst from the command center, his uniform torn and stained with soot. His eyes widened at the sight of Tyler and Rosa, taking in their transformed appearance. "You made it," he said, relief evident in his voice. "We need your help. The situation is dire." Inside the command center, Zax quickly brought them up to speed. The Wadi had been developing an experimental biomechanical interface to combat the machine race, but the technology was proving unstable and dangerous to use. "We've lost too many good soldiers trying to integrate with the system," Zax explained, gesturing to a row of prone Wadi, their bodies twitching as they fought against the interface's invasive presence. Tyler and Rosa shared a look, their thoughts flowing between them like quicksilver. "Our unique physiology," Tyler began. "It might be the key to stabilizing the interface," Rosa finished. Zax nodded, hope flickering in his eyes. "It's risky, but it might be our only chance." As the Wadi scientists prepared the interface, Tyler and Rosa found themselves alone in a quiet corner of the command center. The immensity of what they were about to attempt deeply affected upon them. Rosa reached out, her fingers intertwining with Tyler's. Their skin shimmered in unison, iridescent patterns dancing across their joined hands. No words were necessary. Their mental link conveyed volumes. Fear, hope, and a love deeper than either had ever known flowed between them. Tyler leaned in, pressing his forehead against Rosa's. Their breath mingled as they shared this moment of intimacy amidst the chaos of war. "Whatever happens," he whispered, "we face it together." Rosa nodded, her eyes shining with emotion. "Always." The lead Wadi scientist approached, her face a mask of professional calm, despite the tension evident in her posture. "We're ready," she said softly, not wanting to intrude on their moment. Tyler and Rosa followed her to the interface chamber. The air hummed with energy, and complex machinery lined the walls. At the center stood two pods, their interiors lined with an intricate web of bio-neural circuitry. As they stepped into the pods, Tyler and Rosa kept their eyes locked on each other, The doors sealed shut and the chamber filled with a soft, pulsing light. Initiating interface in 3, 2, 1, the scientist's voice came through the speakers. A surge of energy coursed through Tyler and Rosa, their minds expanding outward at an incredible rate. Their consciousness merged, not just with each other, but with the entire Wadi defense network. In an instant, they became aware of every battle, every soldier, every weapon in the fight against the machine race. Through their shared perception, they coordinated a massive counterattack. Swarms of nanobots, guided by their merged will, swarmed enemy ships, disabling them from within. Planetary shield generators hummed to life, their power amplified by Tyler and Rosa's unique energy signature. Wadi fighters moved with unprecedented precision, as if the pilots could anticipate every move of their mechanical foes. The tide of battle began to turn. The machine race forces, caught off guard by the sudden surge in Wadi defenses, began to fall back. Victory seemed within reach, but the strain of controlling such vast systems took its toll. Tyler and Rosa's merged form began to destabilize, their individual consciousnesses threatening to tear apart under the immense pressure. In this moment of crisis, as they teetered on the edge of oblivion, something extraordinary happened. Their unique bond allowed them to tap into something far greater than the Wadi defense network. They felt the remnants of Progenitor technology scattered throughout the galaxy, a vast web of dormant power waiting to be awakened. With the last of their strength, Tyler and Rosa reached out to this ancient network. A pulse of energy rippled across the galaxy, each Progenitor artifact amplifying and relaying the signal. The wave struck the machine race forces like a hammer blow, disabling their technology and forcing a full retreat. In the interface chamber, alarms blared as Tyler and Rosa's vital signs went haywire. The pods hissed open, releasing a cloud of steam. As the Wadi scientists rushed forward, they stopped short, awestruck by what they saw. Where two beings had entered the pods, only one emerged. A new entity stood before them, its form shimmering with iridescent energy, a perfect blend of human and Wadi physiology. This being possessed the combined memories and personalities of both Tyler and Rosa, along with an innate mastery over Progenitor technology. The hybrid being opened its eyes, taking in the shocked faces around it. When it spoke, its voice carried echoes of both Tyler and Rosa, yet was something entirely new. "I am Tyra," it said, a smile playing across its luminescent features, "and I believe we have much work to do." As news of the victory spread and the Wadi began to celebrate, Tyra stepped out of the command center. Its gaze swept across the battle-scarred landscape, seeing not just the devastation, but the potential for renewal. In its mind, plans were already forming. Plans that would reshape the galaxy and usher in a new era of peace and cooperation. Tyra's iridescent skin pulsed with drive as it turned back to the command center. The war might be over, but the real challenge, building a lasting peace between all sentient species, was just beginning. With the wisdom of two cultures and the power of the progenitors at its command, Tyra was ready to face whatever the future might hold.
If you finished this story, please subscribe and like the video. Then leave a comment that says, "I liked the story," and I will heart every single one of them. It really helps me. Thank you for your time.